Good morning, everyone. Hello again. So many familiar faces in chat. I see Anna and Steve and Sam. And Adobe Live is with us today. Ariana, Sean, Chad. It's so good to see you. Hello, Aurora. I'm very excited for today's challenge, and I'm going to get into it pretty quickly this morning because, as you guys probably read on the landing page or in Discord, we are doing a little bit of animation today, but we're also going to get into some other pretty nifty tools first that I want to make sure we have time for. So for those of you who are new, my name is Voodoo Val. I'm going to be your host this morning for the challenge number 8 of these Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges, and if you would like to get involved in these challenges with me or learn a little bit more information about what we are doing, you folks can actually head over to behance.net/challenge, which will look a lot like this. So on this page, basically you can scroll down here and it'll tell you how this challenge works. Every day you receive a challenge that is unlocked at around 8 a.m. Pacific time. And it will give you a little brief introduction to what we are actually doing. As you can see here, kind of the title of the challenge, as well as a link button that will bring you to the stream that I did, so that you folks can get like a little demo, a little walkthrough of what we are doing, even if you're watching these weeks or months or days in the future. So you can also join the community chat by clicking the community chat button, this nifty join us button down here under chat with the community, or you can go to the Adobe Discord at bit.ly/ps Discord. That is our little URL there. If you do choose to go this route in order to come hang out with us, you need to make sure that that P and that S are capitalized, otherwise it will not bring you to the right place. So bit.ly/P_S Discord. And that will take you to this wonderful place right here. Let me pop up my Discord and I will bring you over to the Photoshop Discord. Some of you folks may already be a part of the UI UX Adobe XD Discord, but we also have one for these challenges for Photoshop. Let me bring this over here and then I will change up my screen and show you guys what we're working with here. Boom, boom. All right. So this is the Discord where everyone has been posting all of their awesome stuff. Looks like Darius has kind of a cool, look at that! That is so awesome! This little creature, or large creature, it's probably, I mean, I imagine this guy's got to be pretty huge because he looks very monstrous. But this is awesome. He's casting like a little spell. That's so neat. Well done, Darius. But a lot of these folks in here have been hanging out with me for the duration of the challenge. As I said, this is challenge number 8 this morning, so we'll have done up to 8 challenges after today. If you haven't been following along this whole time, though, that is totally fine. We welcome you all to join us and participate no matter what day you're working on, even if you're doing them out of order. You can come in here and post your challenge entry at the end of the stream or after a little while today in the current challenge page here, like everyone else has been doing. But if you do things out of order, you can definitely post in the past challenge here and show off what you have done, even if it's not the actual day for that challenge. We still want to see it. We still want to give you feedback. We still want to see all the awesome stuff you folks are doing. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the challenge because I don't want to run out of time today. So I'm going to page down my Discord, and I've got my Photoshop open here. Let me bump over to the other side with the use of my computer magic. And today what we're going to do is we're going to create a kind of animated progress bar. Now, a lot of you folks know that we've been doing kind of a adventure guild, video game, RPG kind of theme for these. I want to point out that it's not necessary for you folks to do the challenge with me today and do a adventure video game themed piece. If you folks are not into that sort of thing and you'd like to just use the skills and the lesson to create your own kind of project, that's totally cool. But for those of you who are following along with our little tentative adventure storyline, we've done a lot. We've chosen our class. We've created avatars of ourselves to make us look super magical. We've picked up all of our items that we'll need for our quest. We have raised our banners. We've created our house crests, put it on a flag to carry with us into battle. We've chosen our weapons. We've chosen our heroic companions. Mine was a giant attack pigeon. I just want to point out because I'm super proud of that. We have created a map for ourselves to use, and we've also posed our fantasy characters for battle. And now that we've adventured out into the Wicked Wood and we've been killing monsters left and right, I think it's about time that we level up, wouldn't you say? You know, because no game is complete without a little bit of experience points and getting to that next level. So we're going to create a progress bar, and the way we're going to do that is with the use of not only the Photoshop timeline, but we're also going to get into the mixer brush today, because I want to create kind of a 3D looking progress bar, but I don't want to illustrate it or paint it. I want this to be something that you folks can do even if you don't have a stylus. We've gone over a few ways that you can do stuff like that, like with the pen tool and with the lasso tool and with gradients and all that stuff, masking and clipping masks and selections and things. But what we're going to do today, like I said, is get into the mixer brush. So I'm going to grab this image that I have here and I'm going to drop it into my canvas because we're going to need an image to sample for this. I'm just going to go ahead and go like this. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to grab my mixer brush, which is right up there at the kind of the midway mark. And it's actually going to be where your brush tool was. If you don't see the mixer brush right away, go ahead and just right click there and scroll down here to mixer brush tool. Now, I'm going to make a new layer above this image. I'm going to say Control Shift in, and I'm going to call this progress. Boom. So I have progress. And now if you come over here and you kind of paint around with your brush, you'll notice that, you know, whatever color you have sampled here, it's just going to paint like the regular brush. And there are so many different components to using the mixer brush that I can't get into today. But what I'm going to show you to start off is how to make kind of a 3D interesting tube by sampling this image that's underneath here. So I'm going to do Control Z and I'm going to show you how to make this super cool. Now up here at the top, you'll see there's a little checkbox that says sample all layers. I'm going to make sure that we have that on. And then I'm going to hold Alt here and I'm going to click around on the area. And you can see up there at the top where our pink color was, it's actually changing to pieces of this image now. So it's no longer just sampling from my, my colors palette. And then I'm going to make sure that I have wet turned down here, and I want it to load my brush with tons of this image, tons of paint, basically. And there, of course, there's tons of different settings here that I will let you folks explore at your leisure, but I'm going to leave it on custom because I've kind of edited my settings up here. And I am going to just drag a line out. Check that out. Isn't that cool? You can actually create a brush that when it's sampling an image, it actually looks like a 3D tube kind of swirling around, which is super neat. So I'm going to do this one more time, but I'm going to hold Shift so that it gives me that straight line. And I am going to work with that right there because I want the progress bar to look a little bit 3D in our little border we're going to put it in. So that's going to be it for that. Again, definitely check out the mixer brush and go through all the settings and see what you folks like. That's all I'm going to do with it for now though, because I just wanted a cool little interesting thing here. In fact, I could add a bit of a shine to it if I wanted. Let's just select this kind of white color here. Let's get a little bit more white like that. And then I'm just going to draw a kind of a bright line across it like that, just to make sure it has a little bit of light on it. And maybe an even thinner one down here. It doesn't have to be super extra fancy, but that will work. Maybe I'll actually leave out that smaller one. And then I'm just going to hide the image that I used, and I'm going to Control T to transform this little bar that I have here. I'm going to grab my marquee tool by pressing M, and I'm actually going to cut the edges off of this because I don't need those rounded edges. And then I'm going to put this into a frame. Let's make it just slightly shorter like this. And there's a lot of ways that you can put this into a frame, but what I'm going to do is actually use the rounded rectangle tool underneath here. So I'm going to come, I selected my rounded rectangle tool right there. I'm going to come in under this progress thing and I'm going to make a new layer with Control Shift in. And I am going to go ahead and drag out a shape underneath here like so. And I'm even going to round these corners a little bit more. You can see right here, this little window will pop up so that you can edit things. I'm going to keep that lock on, and I'm going to bump this up to, well, actually, maybe this is good. You can bump this up to something more if you want. Like if we change it to a 30 and hit enter, or maybe we'll leave it like that because that's actually not bad. I'm going to fill this with a different kind of color here. I kind of want a gold color. Maybe I'll sample from here, bump that down a little bit and move it into kind of a darker color like so. And then I'm going to duplicate this with Control J. I'm going to transform it and make it slightly smaller than what I had before. Let's see, I'm gonna transform and bump that around like that and maybe drag this edge in like so. That is good enough for me. I'm gonna say okay, and then I'm gonna change the color of this to something a little brighter. Let's see, like that. Yeah, there we go. All right, and then I'm gonna come up to this progress here and I'm gonna put a small, tiny stroke on it. So I just double click that layer, I'm gonna hit the stroke here, and that dark stroke is fine for me. I just wanna separate it from the little background that we put it on. And I'm gonna say, okay, but if you wanna change the color, you can just come in here and noodle around however you like. It is like a health bar, or like a mana bar, but I wanna call it a progress bar because there might be some non-gamers in here who will be like, what is mana? So I'm gonna hit okay, and there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating the frames for this. I'm actually going to crop my canvas by pressing C, and I'm going to bring this in like so. There we go. Drag these in right here, and that is good enough for me. And then I'm gonna delete this bokeh image here because I don't need that anymore. And I'm going to click one of my layers here. I'm going to hold shift and click the topmost layer to select everything in between. And then I'm going to say Control G to group those together. And group 1 is a good enough title for me. So I'm not going to rename it, but then I'm going to transform and I'm just going to make sure that this is in the center here. Now, how do we animate this to make it look like a progress bar is filling up? The way that we're going to do this is we are going to first duplicate this a few times. Let's see, maybe we'll do it like, how many is that? 6? 6 is fine, because we're limited on time today. So now I'm just gonna double click all these. I'm gonna call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because we're going to make frames out of these. But we're going to edit the content before we can flatten these into individual frames. So I'm going to hide all of these now, except for the first one. And the first one, I'm going to go ahead and flatten. So I'm going to say Control E to flatten that, because that's our filled bar of progress, okay? And then I'm going to unhide this second one here, and I'm going to open my my contents there, and I'm going to grab my marquee tool with the M key, and I'm just going to take a little section out of this. And I'm going to say Control X. I'm also going to hide this one underneath it so that it shows what I've actually done here. Let's see, let me do this again. Actually, let me, I'm going to rasterize this layer real quick. And then I'm going to do the marquee. And I'm going to go Control X and just take a little piece out of it, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of close that group, and then I'm going to go Control E, and I'm going to hide that as well, or merge that as well with Control E, and I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep unhiding these groups, and every time I do this, I'm going to take a little bit more out of the bar, and then close the group and merge it. And I'm going to keep going down the line in this way, because basically what I'm doing is I'm making frames or making different versions of this where it has less and less in the progress bar, so to speak. And you can do this probably a little more cleanly than me. You know, I just want to make sure that we get through this and we have time to export everything and whatnot. So I'm just kind of doing it quickly. Let's get a little bit more out of this one right here. Let's go X. And then I'm going to close that down and merge it. And then the last one here, we're going to open this up. I'm going to rasterize it. And then I am going to come back this far and I'm going to say, okay, or I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to Control E on this group. So now that we have this all set up like this, I'm going to delete my background layer here. Okay. I'm going to right click on it and you can hit delete layer, or you can just select it and hit the delete key. And then I'm going to open my timeline. And if you don't have your timeline window set up on this or like on your layout, all you have to do is come up to window and go down to timeline and just click that. In fact, if you ever find yourself lacking a panel, maybe you close something by accident, you can always come back to the window drop down and grab anything that you need to add back. So I'm going to hit timeline. And then I'm going to drag this down into my bar here. And I'm going to bump myself over to this other, to this other side, so that you can see everything I'm doing. So first I'm going to hit this little drop down here, and I'm going to say create frame animation. And then I'm going to hit the button there. And then I'm going to come over here to this little hamburger menu here, and I'm going to say make frames from layers. Boom. So we have our little frames from our layers here. And you know what? It actually looks like I cut a little bit off of my thing here. So real quick, what I'm going to do before I make this frame animation is I'm going to duplicate this number 6 and drag it down under here. And I'm going to merge these just to add back my little piece there that I accidentally messed with there. All right. And I'm actually going to reorder these, to be honest, because I want number 1 to be on the top and then have it go down to number 6, I think. And then I'm going to do this again. I'll hit create frame animation. Boom. Create frames from layers. Like so. And then I have a little animation in my timeline here that's basically all of my layers lined up. And then if I hit play, it fills up over and over again, which is super, super cool. So if you want to change the duration of this, you can select all of your layers here, and you can click here and maybe make this like 1 second. It depends on how fast you want this to be. It's really up to you. I kind of like it a little bit faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reselect all these. I'm going to make it very fast, except for this final one here. And I'm going to make that 0.5. And then I'm going to say, let's see. Oh, I didn't want to make all of them 0.5. Let me select this again. We're going to make it 0.1, and then let me select this on its own and make that last one 0.5, so it's a little slower. And then actually that last one is a little bit shorter than that. Maybe we'll just get rid of that frame for now, because we don't have a lot of time to go back and change everything at the moment. Maybe I'll, boom, just like that. Or I'll go back and remove this frame altogether. Okay. All right, let's go create frames from layers. Just gonna kind of do that again. I'm not sure why it just kind of gave me a little skip real quick right there. Make frames from, there we go. All right. So once you have your little bar that doesn't have a skip in it, apologies for that. Kind of got a little miffed there, probably when I deleted a little too much of that last frame. But accidents happen. I'm a human, and that happens sometimes. Sometimes you get a little technical difficulties, which is all right. So now you probably want to export this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to, let's see, File. we're going to go to export, and then we're going to go save for web. Now, I want to make something very clear here. The more colors that you have in your GIF, because we're going to make like a little GIF animation here, the more colors you have in your GIF, the more sort of degraded this is going to look. So if you do like this big, giant, wild, super detailed GIF, you're going to see a lot of loss of detail in yours, but ours is fairly simple, so that's totally fine here. You can probably leave it on the default settings of the colors that it chooses for you, but if you don't want to do that, if you want to really get in here and mess with how these colors are used in your GIF, you can come in and mess with the settings if you like, but I'm going to leave mine exactly as is, and I'm going to play it real quick just to kind of get a little idea. And it's pretty fast right now. It's not going to be that fast when I export it, but I am going to leave it as is. I'm going to pause that because that's a little crazy, and I'm going to say save, and then I'm going to navigate to my folder over here, and I'm going to say save, like so. And then I have all of my my little GIFs saved in my folder here. So if I open this up, let's go over to my folder. If I open up my GIF, there it is. I've got my little GIF all made, and it kind of goes through. Now you can even get super fancy with this. As you remember, I kind of made like a group for everything before I merged them all into my frames. You could even have a text layer in each group that says something maybe over the top in the same color as the background of your frame, so that as that progress bar fills up, it sort of reveals a word. You guys could add more frames, more steps to the cutout of your progress bar so that it flows a little more smoothly. You guys can do whatever you want. Kind of add a little bit more detail to it. And I say if you want to add more detail to your progress bar, but you're worried about maybe not getting all of the details in once you export it as a GIF, that is totally cool. All you would have to do is maybe make sure that all of the colors are very closely related. Maybe not use gradients and things in your GIF, because that will definitely help when you export. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up my Discord, and I'm going to share this with all of you. I'm going to go to current challenge, like so, and I am going to drag my GIF right in here, or you can press the plus button down here and get that going, and then my little GIF is right in there. And then I'm also going to come over to the Behance real quick, and I am going to throw this into my Behance DCC project. I'm going to scroll all the way down here through all the things that I have created so far. I'm going to call this level up, not in caps though. Boom. And then I am going to not add a text layer. I am going to add a insert media. And then I am going to navigate to my lesson, and I am going to grab my GIF, and I'm going to throw it in there. Boom. And that's all you have to do. So I can't wait to see what you guys create with this. I can't wait to see how it differs from mine, what kind of border you guys kind of put your little progress bar in. If you guys do like the text reveal, like I said, if you guys add more frames to it, maybe some of you folks who are more familiar with animation could add a little bit more spice to yours, because I saw some people were already creating like character animations and stuff, just going totally wild with this challenge, which I think is so awesome. So maybe you guys can add like a little effect at the end, like a burst, like level up kind of thing, whatever you folks want. And I'm also eager to see how you interpret this challenge for those of you who are not like fantasy video game type people, because remember, if you're not going to do it exactly like I am, that is totally okay. You can adapt this however you like and make it your own. So it's going to be a blast in the Discord today, I can already tell. Thank you folks for joining me. Please stay tuned for the rest of the day, because we've got a jam-packed day of awesome design segments coming up after me, and I will see you folks next time.